Welcome back to Weebology. Thanks, y'all, for coming back to class. I am your monochromatic and highly lumatic Professor Ricky.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was something, I'll tell you that.
I appreciate it. I don't know if that's a compliment, but I do appreciate it nonetheless.
Yeah, so I'm Ethan, I guess.
So blasé, but
it's just that, this is like every day for me,
Is it every day?
Yeah.
I'm
always in the lab cooking up stuff in a crock pot.
Cooking it up in the crock pot. I am on my journey to the light from the void. I had a little slippage this week. I just had a lot of work to do. Work got crazy this week, but I'm still on the climb, and things are looking up. Ethan, how is your life without your favorite show?
Yeah, so like I was gonna say, now that Black Clover has stopped, nothing is okay.
Oh no!
Everything has burned down.
No.
And this finally sucks. So thanks, universe.
Finally sucks for Ethan. You were resilient for a long time. I don't want this nail in your coffin for you, but it is the way the world goes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do have like a freaking thick backlog to get through.
We all? Yeah, we have a laundry list now. Thank y'all for submitting shows in. We've actually had a lot of people write in on shows that we should be watching, have yet to check out, and should do episodes on. The one I currently just started finally is High Score Girl. Actually really enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I'm like essentially done with first or second season. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, I think there's 2 seasons. I gave it to 3. But I finally stopped like IVing Kuroko no Basket to actually get through the backlog of the stuff we need to get through.
Very nice.
But on the concept of sports anime, today we're going to be doing a quick little segment talking about the second half of Haikyuu to the top, the 4th season of the highly hyped, properly sports anime. Oh yeah. And it's a pretty good half. I think looking at the season as a whole, which we'll talk about kind of at the end of rambling about it, it definitely feels like it's leading to better things. Do you kind of agree with that? It definitely feels like it's about to lead into a season of pure liquid hype.
Oh yeah, I mean we're in the national freaking tournament, folks.
The freaking nationals, baby.
Nationals.
Well,
so like the first half, which we already did our episode on, was
39. Go check it out.
Yeah,
and come back
39.
if you want to. It's all views, baby. It's all views.
It's all gravy.
It's all gravy.
It was all about basically each of the individual pieces of the puzzle were training in their various ways. Kageyama and his national boys squad or national boysing in Tokyo, and then Hinata and
Suki,
whatever his name is. I can't remember his full names.
Suki, Glassy Boy Supreme,
Glassy Boy.
Koi Boy.
They were doing like the freshman tournament or
just like
thing.
the
even though Hinata broke in. Oops.
That was pretty funny. Yeah. So where we are after we talked about the first half is they had all had their moments apart. They had all had their training in their respectable ways. Hinata went to be a ball boy in the best way because he got to see the volleyball court from a brand new perspective. Kageyama was approached with talent that he, hadn't rarely been exposed to and tried to work with people that weren't necessarily his team. And then they all had to try in the second half to slam all that separate experience back into a cohesive volleyball machine, which doesn't exactly start out super hot, interestingly enough.
Yeah, so they actually did a pre-tournament tournament arc almost with
it was like a practice match with Date Tech, the Iron Wall version 2.0.
Yeah, which has gotten nutty.
They basically have started to apply guest blocking and read blocking into their Iron Wall with that crazy dude up front who can just react, and he just is good at what he does. So the Iron Wall of sometimes 2 becomes more consistently the true Iron Wall of 3 of a triple block scenario. And that middle, I honestly God don't remember his name, but he looks pretty out there and wild.
Aoni is the white-haired kid.
Yeah, but it was the other guy who did the guest blocking, right? Or did the Aoni do the guest blocking? One of them did on the front three.
I think what they did is they're having two always go, and then the third guy is supposed to like
exactly
roam. And I think it's just dependent on the position.
It works. It's a very powerful tool, and it's a good practice match because it not only shows that the rest of the teams they're exposed to are also getting better, but it kind of presented a proper challenge, proper pressure to get the Karasuno team back in full swing of sorts. And we kind of saw...
How'd you feel? Like, because they started off bad.
It was really rough, and a lot of it had to do with Kageyama kind of reverting back to his old lonely, kingly ways. You know, he was kind of, for lack of a better term, and to only put this as elegantly as two professors can, a real dick. He's a real piece of shit. Like, he...
So this was actually something I really struggled with because, like, I feel like the whole 3 seasons were to get him to not be a dick.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're telling him, be a dick. And I'm like, what?
That was pretty funny when he was told at the camp. We mentioned it in our last episode about this, that he was called a Goody-Two Shoes, and it really rustled his jimmies. It really got under his skin. But I don't think that was actually the reason why he reverted. I think he was just exposed to so much raw talent and couldn't maybe recognize after that exposure that there is much more power and merit in a well-oiled machine rather than just individual talents trying to come together in a slapdash team. But he couldn't separate the two. Remember that it was a Horishima, or the kid that was the equivalent of Hinata, who was the crazy jumper short boy that he met in the national training.
Hoshi something.
Hoshishima or something like that. I'm gonna call him I don't
Tiny
know.
Owl Boy.
Tiny Owl Boy. He looked like an owl. He was very owl-esque.
Yeah.
But yeah, he basically had such good jumping form that he was keeping up with, if not exceeding, Hinata's natural jumping ability. So he not only took that as, oh, I can take this back to my team, but he almost felt like there was a disparity between him and the rest of his team internally, that I am so much better because of this training and you guys are not keeping up with me. Because he yelled at their Libra.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't remember his name right now, but considering he's like literally one of my top 3 favorite characters in the whole show.
It was like something. Hey, you know what? We're not linguistas. We are okay with not remembering names, but
yeah. So I actually had planned to do this episode like a lot sooner, but we just had so much to talk about. Like, it almost is like we could honestly get away with doing a full episode every single day, and we'd have plenty to talk about.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying that we're ever gonna do that, so just chill out.
Just chill out. Everyone at home was just gasping for new content.
Nishinoya, I think.
Nishinoya.
Thanks,
Ethan,
guys.
that's
Thanks.
what memory recall.
Thanks.
Only took him 55 seconds, but it was.
You
good.
didn't even have a freaking shot.
I knew it was an end name.
This kid had no clue.
It started with Nish.
You called him Nichi.
Nichimoya.
Called him Nichigo Kurosaki.
Nihao know-how.
Anywho,
obviously.
So actually, I think that was the exact last episode for the first half.
It was, yeah, because that was the last moment where he basically did Rolling Thunder. And then said, dude, you're in the way. And everyone, he said it really dickishly, but I wanted to talk about that moment since we stopped there, because it was revealed that he didn't necessarily mean it to be like, get the hell out of my way, but he had gotten so much better that he's already thinking 3 or 4 moves ahead, that his Rolling Thunder was getting in the way of the back spikers, like the back plays. And it's something that, you know, these other players that didn't get to have the privilege of going to these higher level camps, they didn't get to evolve in such a way. But I think that's where the disparity happened. He couldn't come in as a mentor. He came in as a king, which is really interesting. That might just have been him reverting. I
think they do like a really decent job of showing that this kid has like 0 social skills.
He really does.
Like, he honestly looks like he's got like I don't know, Asperger's or something, where he's like really has a hard time connecting with everyone. The only person he can connect with is Shoyo, and he does it in like such a weird way.
Right, and I think that it's kind of speaking to the idea that, you know, he's a prodigy at this. He's a one in a million talent at this, but it's clear that it's not everything.
Yeah. And like I think so basically after he explains to him the reason that he bitched him out, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense."
That makes a lot of sense, but dude,
and we did not expect that at all because even Ryo is like, "Who are you talking to, dude?"
I think it's funny that only after a week of being exposed to national level talent that he forgot what it's like to be on a team as close knit as Karasuno, because he came back expecting to do all the work. He even yelled at them in episode 7 or 8 saying, the one literally called Return is about the return of the bitchy king, so to speak.
Return of the king.
Return of the king, baby.
Lord of the Rings style.
Lord of the Rings. And he basically...
Sans Mordor.
Sans Mordor, but the Eye of Sauron still, as Kageyama is inspecting the field and has basically future sight, volleyball style. But, you know, his team comes back, and Hinata, even more than the others, saying, dude, you've gotten so much better, but remember, we're still a team, dude. Like, we're still us. We're still the Crows. Don't forget that. And he kind of snaps him back into place.
I actually, like, I didn't really notice that he was that much better, to be honest, but I think it might have been, like, he's overthinking it now. Like, he's really, really in his head. And even the coach is like, dude, you gotta calm your shit. Because you're like...
yeah, you told him, like, dude, you gotta sit down and simmer, my boy. You are
simmer down.
Heated and hot and bothered. But it's something I actually wanted to bring up because it's something that...
But then they were okay with him being a douchebag. Like, I don't understand what's happened.
Yeah, they wanted to take charge, but doing so with high communication skills. Like, definitely pinging your teammates, getting the vibe, getting everyone's feel. How are my sets? Was that spike good for you? How can I adjust? But still be a little bit assertive about it all. But
I miss Oikawa.
You miss Oikawa? He's cool, though.
He's easily the coolest guy in the whole show.
He is super cool. But the one thing I wanted to bring up that, you know, I think speaking to how you didn't feel like Kageyama got that much better, this is what sports endgames look like, in my opinion. Like a good, well-constructed sports endgame where you've oscillated between training arcs of these wild, like, think back in season 1, right? Them developing that crazy ultra fast quick. That felt like a huge jump. But then later in this season 4, just Hinata learning a different jump form, which we'll get to, felt to me similarly big, right? But that's such a finite, even him learning split step in the first half of the season. Like, that's so minor. And yet, we're all now playing at a level that's so elite when it comes to this crew that every now little thing has the same weight. Brilliantly written to go from these big swings of skill to these little oscillations of betterment, of these tweaks of form, both feel heavy. And I think that's a merit of a good sports anime, where you can have late game adjustments, small as they may be, still feel weighty. And that's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I think this is like an absolute masterclass of how you keep it interesting, but you don't have to ramp it up to like ridiculous level. Like, I think this is where like traditional shonen potentially have it wrong. Yes, it's really dope to see new powers, but the problem is when your new power is like, I can pretty much destroy the world with the snap of my fingers.
Yeah.
Your next power better be, I can destroy a universe with the, the flutter of my eyelashes.
Yeah, I shouldn't blink too hard or I'll wipe out a continent. Whoops.
Right? Like, I don't know. I think the ability, and I think it also helps that Hinata started with one insane innate ability.
Right.
Which is like, I don't even want to call it instincts. I just want to call it like crazy reactive.
It's pure athleticism.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's like it. Now he's able to constantly put tools in his toolbox to become a more all-rounder and synergize with his squad. I'm trying to use a lot of buzzwords.
Yeah, and buzzy they are. I'm buzzed over here just listen to that shit. Okay. But I think
just so you guys know, if you're ever in a meeting with me at work, that's all I'll be doing is throwing
synergy, optimization, innovation,
Of course.
Slice of life. Wait, what? What happened there?
Dang it. Oh,
Wait,
no.
Oh, his weeb is leaking
Sorry,
in
boss.
the business meeting.
I meant slice of metal.
I read stand up as shonen meaning at 9 a.m. Whoops.
Awkward.
Sorry about talking about power systems, but I think what we're seeing now when it comes to Masterclass, how do you pick it out when it comes to sports anime or even just these heavy action stuff? And I think the word that comes to mind is focus. You know, we're honing in. You know, as you get closer to refining a diamond, you have crude pressure and crude changes to go from coal to like a diamond. But as you get to the late game, it's about polish. You know, I
think the other thing that really helps it is Hinata is not in the game 100% of the time.
They're doing better about, you know, utilizing more Sugawara, I think is Sugawama, the white-haired pinch server guy, or he's a setter, right?
Yeah, Sugawara is a setter.
He's a setter. Who's Yamaguchi is the pinch server?
I think so. And there's another pinch server coming up the pipe as well.
Kinoshita.
Why he knows the third guy on the pine. The dude's riding the pine hardcore. He knows him.
Well, he that's the thing. There was a moment. I think it was. I don't know if it was during Date Tech or I think it was during Date Tech. But it wasn't Tsubaki Hara, which was the first round of nationals. During Date Tech or whatever one of those games. He tries to hide. He's one of the first years maybe and tries to hide
that's right.
in the bench, and then coach is just like, quit that shit. You know what? Get in the game. You're done. I'm done with this whole vanishing act. And he comes in and scores one and tells him, hey, don't downplay your abilities, but quit the shit. Like, you're part of the team and you're going to have to play. And Kinoshita is just like, oh, yes, sir. But they're doing a really good job of utilizing all of their assets. Now they have to. And that's where you get good, compelling character stories. He had a spotlight moment. And I think anyone who's played a sport, maybe in, you know, back in your school days or whatever, and maybe have felt that experience, like your time to shine, so to speak, right? That's real. I think that's a very relatable storyline in the late game, you know. So
I think, you know, one thing that really sets Haikyuu apart, and, you know, specifically in this season too, all the other seasons as well, but specifically this season, is like even the people that Karasuno are playing against, like, you kind of like them.
Oh yeah, every team's got their quirk. Every team's got those handful of players that are just fun. And I found Date Tech maybe not as endearing. Hinata and Aone, or his name is, big white hair guy. Their respect for each other has always been very endearing.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
They literally bow to each other at the end of their matches, just like, okay, I respect you as a player.
That new kid's gonna be interesting too. Kanagawa, I think his name is.
Oh yeah,
with the like, I think he's got like blonde hair with that weird black spike in the front. Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
The like freaky talent that they have. Remember, like super tall kid.
Yeah.
From Date Tech.
Yeah.
Like he's got a lot better from that freshman camp, and I think even like, you know, Hinata and all those guys were ending up helping him. One thing I did wonder, in your opinion, would you have expected Hinata to just play ball boy? Do you think that goes against his character? Because now that I thought about it a lot, I'm like, I think he would have gone back to his fucking team and started playing, because his like whole character is, I want to play as much as possible, right? And like even he would play with like old ladies.
That's true.
And so like now he's being literally excluded from playing, and he's okay with just kind of sitting and waiting, unless he's finally like turning the corner, and like maybe the stern talking to he was given by his coach and Takeda, maybe that like finally got through to him. I don't really know.
I think what it was that really did it was when coach told him, don't underestimate what it takes to be a ball boy. Because I think up to that point, he really was still in that mode of playing as king. Like, playing is how I'm going to get better. But I think that, you know, do I think he would have wanted to be a ball boy? No, until he gave it a try. And then he learned about perception and learning, you know, game anticipation and having more of a predictive attitude rather than a reactive one. Because like we've talked about, he's literally a crazy ball of instinct and athleticism, and that's gotten him by so far. And just that coupled with game experience is good enough for him. But when he finally got to see the field from a different perspective, I guess court might be, when he starts receiving is when he starts to see the merit, right? Because he was a shit receiver. The guy couldn't receive to save his life. But then as he started to observe and be a ball boy, he was trying to catch the ball and then later have that same predictive aspect to receive it. So in short, do I think he would have wanted to be a ball boy? No, until he was. And then he saw the merit of it. And I think that's a huge growth point for Hinata's character, that there's a different aspect of this game he was never considering.
Well, I think he's going to make him like a genuine star now that he's going to like learn that you can jump with both feet. Like, what an idiot.
Okay.
Learn like how to receive, how to do all this stuff. I think they'll start taking him out of the game less.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one thing I've kind of wondered is like, obviously, I can't remember all these guys' names for some reason right now, but
there's a lot of names.
Asahi is...
Yeah, Asahi, yeah.
He's the ace still, right? But Hinata is a bona fide star already. But he's like humble enough to not be like, you got to leave me in the game. You know what I mean? Like
he's still out there for the team. Like if he's got to go out for, pinch server or swapping someone out to disrupt the other team, he's all about it. He's still itching to go back in, but he understands.
He's like the best teammate ever.
He really is.
When I played, competitive sports and I was like not playing, I was like pretty uninterested in the game.
Yeah, because it's not me, baby. Yeah. I'm not the star here.
Give me more ice time, daddy.
Ice time. I think this second half was really love letter kind of is a weird, but I'll use it. Love letter to the character of Asahi, because he was the one who smashed Date Tech to win it. And when we go to the first round of nationals, he was the final point to clinch the game.
I don't recall any of that.
He was slamming. Like, this was a whole thing, because this nationals is kind of like Daichi and Asahi and Sugawara, or I don't know what his name is, but Shawarma, White Hair Boy Supreme, I don't know. All these third years, this is their moment. This is really theirs. Like, this is their.
You could probably just said third years, huh?
I could have, but how fun is it to not?
Yo, we're missing something.
What are we missing?
Manager check. She had her like whole
Kyoko?
Story arc, dude.
Kyoko with her with the bag.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, Hinata had this exact same bag as a 5-year-old.
Which again, that seems pretty much on brand.
It kind of tracks.
It tracks for sure.
And he gives it to.
Well, he just grabs the wrong one.
No. He gave it to someone to hold it while he went to the bathroom, and that kid put it down. And it ended up swapping with some random kid that was in that like side. Basically, it was another gym across town that they were using to warm up.
Yes.
And they get to the first round, and what's his face? Shoyo's like, dudes, I don't have my shoes.
Bros, I'm gonna have to go barefoot, all natural. If someone
Kyoko swings in like Tarzan and says,
she's the best. I'm gonna grab
Yo,
it.
fam, I'm got it.
And she dead ass books it. And she goes through her old history of her used to be a track and field hurdler. And did you like that scene? That like her history as she goes and says, I'm gonna do what I can for this team. I'm a manager, but I used to play sports. I liked it for what it was. I think they really milked that sucker though. I think they really milked it.
Well, so if you really think about it, she hasn't had too much spotlight.
That's okay. Yeah, that was her moment.
And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to show like she has put in a lot of work behind the scenes, because it did show like some of that too from a managerial standpoint, where like she was 100% into the track and field stuff. She got hurt in the hurdles, and then now she's 100% into the manager. And so I don't know. I just think they were just trying to give her time to shine, because like this is her last rodeo as well. And I think, I don't know, I thought it was really, really nice that they did that for her.
I was just thinking about being a third person perspective on seeing this girl with a bag hurl like a street like barricade. It's just like out of nowhere. It's just like, did you just fucking clear that with like 10 extra feet? Like, what?
What the hell are you
like,
doing?
Just look over and I'm just like out here with a bun and just, oh shit. Okay. That's
a red bean paste bun.
of course. Yeah.
Or
as Brock says in Pokemon, this beautiful cheeseburger.
of course, the cheeseburger.
Yeah, I love these cheeseburgers. But no, it was a good moment. It was overall a good moment for Kyoko. And
Look at him, guys. He doesn't like Shonen Ramen. He just completely hated that moment. What a sexist pig.
I'm a pig of myself. No, but I just think, it'd have been nice to see more of those scattered throughout. But she, like you said, they really didn't give her the credence I think she deserved throughout the season. So they kind of just like, moment. We need to build a moment. And then they built one and it was just felt cheesy, but it was still heartwarming. I mean, I'm not too upset by it, but.
So what I'm gathering is you actually hated this second half of the season because of that scene?
With a burning passion. Burn it all, throw it in the trash, reshoot the whole thing.
All
It's
right,
fine.
Production IG, you've got your hands cut out for you.
Season 5, nah. Give me what I want. Give me what this one lowly professor needs. And that's
Here's what I
season.
need. I need all the team members to go down with an injury, and Kyoko has to come in.
Yeah, Kyoko is a one-man, one-woman, excuse me, team, this berserker on the court, and just sets, receives, and spikes for herself. And
Actually, she only serves. Like, she doesn't need anything else. She just hits so much heat.
25-0, sweeps nationals. She wins it all.
Yeah.
This isn't a story about Hinata or Kageyama. This is a story.
And they just give her, like, the prime ministership. Like that. You're great at volleyball. Here you go.
You're the queen of Japan.
Now,
No,
what can we do for you, Your Highness?
Bring me all the world's volleyball players. I shall challenge them all with my serve. Pink. Yeah, it was a good time. That leads into nationals, and they play their first round, which they do in fact, spoilers, win.
Yeah, but it was like messy win.
Tsubakihara was the school. Was that the one that Maya, Kageyama's former teammate, was on, or is that Inarizaki, the second one?
I have no effing clue.
Okay, so it wasn't that. Yeah, so I think that school was that the school where Kageyama literally couldn't get his serve right because of how high the Nationals gym ceiling was.
Yeah.
That was a little interesting to me. Again, going back to the whole. Yeah, I think that's
maybe.
when yeah, because that's when he was adjusting to the gym for the first time.
They all were. They were all struggling.
So,
it just got lost in the lights. It's just so far up there,
Yeah, limelight blinded our boy.
I thought it was so they played two teams in this season. The first one was like the like not very good team, but they were like very hyped. Like they never gave up on anything.
Right, they were just effort on effort.
And I don't think that was the one that he was losing in the lights, but I do think they sucked hard and they like barely won.
Yeah, they brought in pinch servers at the end. They couldn't get a quick off. No, that was the one where Kageyama couldn't do it because that was the reason why they couldn't get their quick off, because you kept trying to adjust and adjust.
Well, but also Shoyo just didn't swing a couple of times.
Now that moment when he tried his new jump out was in the second game.
God,
that was how. Okay, so let us paint you a picture. You're in the second round of the Inter High National Tournament. You are a kid with the most crazy jumping ability. You learn, I don't know how this is even fucking possible, but a new jump. Okay, and you are so impressed by your own jump, you forget to spike the ball in volleyball. What the fuck? like, okay, everyone around him was impressed by the size of his jump. That's cool. It was quite a jump.
You know what? That sounds really bad.
I know. It was quite a jump, I guess. But swing, my dude. Swing, please, for the love of God. And that was the last episode of the season where he didn't swing at the ball. I don't know. That didn't piss me off per se, but it made me.
He's always struggled with like
so mad
doing too many things at once, right?
Yeah.
And like this has happened in the past where he's like just focusing on one thing, like keeping his eyes open, and now he sucks at it. He can't hit it, right?
Yeah, not even.
And then he
a little
learned how to do that. Now he's jumping way too high and then forgets to swing. Or, and now Kageyama's got his own issues where all of a sudden he's throwing them all over the map and he's not even close on a lot of them.
He does lock in eventually, I think, in the first game, but that was also the one where Hinata takes it to the chest. There's that moment where he basically, because he's trying to practice receiving, and everyone can tell, whoa, Hinata's getting really good at receiving. Flash cut to him taking it right.
No, in the face. He gets smacked in the face.
Was that the face?
Yeah, dude.
Well, he hit it with something that wasn't supposed to be hit.
His face.
But that saved the point.
He stopped it with his face.
Oh, God. But what was the,
What's that old video? Scott, he's like the soccer goalie for Yale or something against UNC.
This is starting to ring a bell.
And
they
keep shooting, and he keeps blocking with his face.
Yeah.
Inadvertently, but then like at the end, he's like so freaking messed up and concussed that he's like trying to crawl away. And the guy, the kicker, like ties his shoe, and then Scott looks over and gets beamed in the face at the very last moment.
That's Hinata to a T when it comes to receiving. He'll do it any way he can for his team. But that first game was really messy. It was just a slugfest. And again, Asai comes in and runs train at the very end, and they clinch it. And like I said, this is
Scott Sterling.
Scott Sterling. Yeah, look up that video, everybody.
Scott Sterling.
I like the way they use the third years in the second half of this fourth season. I think it's important that they do. Daishi gets his moments. Asai gets his moments, and you almost have to at this point, right? They need their moment. This is their moment. So,
I mean, like, it still sucks that Sugawara is kind of like on the outside. But I think that they're gonna have to use it a lot more than they did actually previously, because Kageyama still seems really frazzled. Like I don't know what his deal is. Like,
yeah,
he was all like been out of shape about being called a Goody-Two Shoes for some unknown reason, and then now he's like been given free rein to be a douchebag, and so he's like okay with that, but now he like seems to kind of suck. So
I think what that is I think he used to equate his raw prodigal talent with that shit attitude of being the lonely king on the court, right? And then when he start to learn to work in a team with Karasuno, other members of, like the best members in Tokyo kind of came over. That one dude was just like, you're at heart kind of a pretty, Goody-Two Shoes, aren't you? And I think that went in direct contrast to how he sees himself on the court as the best. I'm the leader. I'm the setter. I'm the control tower of the court. I think that might be where the disparity internally with him is coming from. I don't know, but I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with you that it's just I don't know why he's sucking so hard.
So what I felt like is maybe when Oikawa was giving him all those pointers and stuff, on purpose or not on purpose, I don't know.
Right.
Kind of to taunt them, he was like, "Have you asked them what they prefer?" kind of stuff.
Seems
like he's taken his ceiling down in order to be able to play with his teammates. And I think what he's understanding from the Goody-Two Shoes, as well as, like, I can't remember who else said something, but they're basically saying, like, you need to be setting at the optimal spot, and your team needs to be making that happen. You remember that one time when he was in the Nationals camp, he set really high to that really tall guy.
Right.
And he's like, that guy's the same height as Suki, and Suki needs to start doing that, right? And then later on, he literally, like, in the middle of a game, has this outburst where he basically says, "You guys need to play better." Or something like that. Like,
that's what he's saying. Like, you guys need to, and that's when he reverts. But I think he was told by people like Oikawa when, you should not be dictating how the other team members should play. You need to basically, that's what makes Oikawa so good, is because he's the opposite. He works with the team to be like, it doesn't matter how you hit it, low, high, wide, whatever, but whatever your optimal point is, I will make that happen for you. You don't make my sets work. I make your spikes work. You are the dictator to how I play.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm feeling like Kageyama currently just wants to do the perfect set.
does that really mean the same thing for everybody? I think that's what his journey's always been.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying I feel like he's honestly reverted back to the king, where he was just doing fast sets and really high and all this stuff. But now he feels like he's got enough experience to where he's got to tell them, like, I know you can do this. So he's still thinly veiling it as like a motivational like speech almost.
Yeah.
Because like even with Shoyo, like normally he gives him shit and stuff like that. But this time he's like, I know you can jump high.
Yeah, and
because I've seen other people jump higher.
That's actually a good point. It's like, I know you can because they can.
Right.
Didn't there a moment where little Owl Boy and Hinata meet up, and like Owl Boy is like, what's your height? What's your weight? What's your like height, like max reach? What is this? What's that?
Yeah.
And I found it weird that, you would think Hinata would have the same energy back at him, but I like that they introduced a character that is almost like a mirror, but maybe a little farther along in their journey than Hinata. He feels a little bit further in.
Well, he's like a genuine, like,
True.
He's the genuine article.
He's like Little Giant 2.0.
They keep doing like articles on him and stuff in that magazine. And,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Everyone's still overlooking Karasuno. Obviously this guy made it to that national camp, so like he's at least rated.
He's good. Yeah. Man, I'm sorry. I just can't get over the fact that I learned a new way to jump, Mom. I learned a new way to jump. How is that? How did that work? Why did it work? Why did learning a new way to jump work? I don't know. It did because it looked good. They put some Sakuga in that bitch.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I honestly
I was like,
think
what?
that was the best scene animation-wise the entire season, was that specific jump.
Yeah.
And then he whiffs on the hit.
There's something about the way that Haikyuu does escalation and de-escalation so well that moments that should feel like a fuck up, like you're not getting hit in the face, turns into, oh, he just saved the point to save us from an opposing match point. Or like, oh, he just learned to jump literally higher than ever before as a character whose entire thing is jumping. And then they de-escalate the whole situation by him whiffing.
Yeah, they do that a lot and fairly well. But I think like you can really feel the gravity and the velocity essentially of these frames during all these like crazy jumping Sakuga.
Hell yeah.
Like they
totally
do.
Into that.
I think they do it a lot better than a lot of other shows. But like it also kind of reminds me of, how at the end of the Chimera Anarch, when Gon goes like adult form.
Yeah.
And then there's just the drastic lines and like the shading is crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like I think things like that really show like the audience the gravity of the situation. Like obviously gravity is not a visible thing.
But that's the thing. In anime it can be.
Right.
That's the best part
just
about
like
this medium.
Soul pressure.
Yes.
In Bleach.
Exactly.
You literally see somebody like with a lot of strength come into a scene because you can like feel the pressure through, the visual arts. But what's cool about this show is like it's like a perceived pressure. It's not really there. You know what I mean?
Right. Just the way that things are drawn and put into motion and storyboarded. Like
because then you'll even have like the opposing team be like, wow, or something like that, right?
Right. The one thing that it's funny, man, like every time I go watch a scene like that has such weight, that perceived felt weight to it, just through the pure animation and the storyboarding, I go back to, I know this sounds a little weird, but it was at Man of Steel where like the actual live action movie Superman versus General Zod, and that fight is like two gods duking it out. But there are moments, so many moments in anime that feel like they have so much gravity when, in that movie, the CGI gives it visual weight. But some scenes in anime, way more mundane, aka a single jump on a single volleyball court, can have a similar, if not more pronounced effect, right? And I always go back to that right there is a good example of how anime can be such a compelling medium, because you can make something so small seem so big, right? Just a jump. And yet, people were dumbfounded at this kid doing a jump. And I was dumbfounded that he fucking whiffed.
I almost wonder if it's not the fact that like it really isn't that crazy of a jump, right?
Right.
What I'm wondering is if it's they're showing you what spectators and the people that don't know about Karasuno are seeing. Do you know what I mean?
Their own shock and awe.
Right.
Like, right.
And so like that's
a
why
good way
they
to put
make it look nuts, because to all these people, they don't know who these guys are. They're like, yo, what the hell?
Yeah, that kid just jumped 4 feet in the air.
What?
What?
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Just Tim Allen, Scooby-Doo all over everybody.
I don't know. That's just an interesting little thoughty.
Yeah.
Now, so the final match
Mhm.
that is basically about to start in season 5.
Inarizaka.
Yeah. And it's basically this like insane school. They have like a crazy ton of fans.
They have
there.
they have a marching band
Yeah.
shit there, and that was Miya, that the guy who used to be a team member with Kageyama, because he does that first serve and tells all the fans to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And that actually I loved, because he always criticized Kageyama for having the same attitude of I'm the focus, everyone else be quiet and just like stop. This Maya guy who criticized Kageyama so hard for doing that did that to his fans.
I don't know.
To
I
his
don't think so.
fans.
The dudes you're talking about are the two twins.
Was that a twin? Does he have a
Yeah.
twin?
The twins, which were from the national camp, not from.
Oh,
The guy who called him Goody-Two Shoes is the one that told his fans to shut up
okay.
because he whiffed his insane serve.
I think his name is Miya.
Yeah,
Maya.
I think it was like
Maya.
Miyu or something.
Miyu, whatever.
I don't know. They have like basically the same name. It's just backwards.
Yeah, miso soup.
Because they're stupid.
Oh God. But yeah, and then when Karasuno would serve, the other team would boo and basically throw slurs and shit at him. Not really slurs, but dirty
His
crow
name
dirty
is
crow boys.
Miya Osamu,
Okay.
and his brother is.
We are prolonging our fucking content, dude.
Okay, let's just move the hell on. But I think it'll be very
Yeah, I get what you're
interesting
saying.
next season, man. And like these guys are wild.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy hitters. So
Because I think if you were to base it off of like the perception that they have on the court, like Karasuno's about to get smoked.
no, they really are.
Especially
Unless
'cause
they
have not been playing well at
they
all.
got to buck up, and I think that this is where they're gonna buck up, which is gonna be great. But overall, this season, how'd you feel? What were your thoughts?
I mean, it was like a lot of training, a lot of like me and another team happen to be at the same hotel kind of situation.
Yeah,
Which is like such a trope, apparently.
it is. In my opinion, I think the first half of this season was much stronger than the second. I think the way they went about training arcs this late in the game really spoke volumes about their ability to write in progression even in the late game and have personal stakes and change a character up in a very believable way.
I don't know. I think it's because the second half you just see them getting their shit rocked, but still win, right?
I guess maybe, yeah. Maybe that just showed the potentially damaging effects of like teammates going off to be validated as individual stars and then having to come back and re-oil that machine.
Play with
right?
these plebeians.
Yeah, exactly. But that was the energy that some of them came back with. So, I
Give me a rating.
78. I actually think it was maybe 77. I think it was weaker than
Wait, the whole season was
the whole
70?
season. It was a
Jesus
77. I think if you want to go the first 6 was maybe 85, and then the second half was maybe like a 70, 71 for me. I think it was still pretty strong, but I think coming off of season 3, which could have been one of the hypest sports
Wait,
anime
say
seasons.
that again?
So episodes 1 through 6 get like an 85.
Okay.
And the second half of the season 4, it gets maybe a 70 or 71 for me, which round out to a whole season of about 77 in my head. So
Wow.
I'm just saying, again, not a bad season, but it was clearly a transitionary from one of the most hype sports or even just action anime seasons I've ever seen, which was season 3, and then
Yeah, but it was like a full 24 episodes.
I thought it was only like 10.
Season
3 was just one game.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And again, that was liquid hype, near 90, if not 90. But in season 4, it was clear they are leading to a much more packed season.
They're like completely you cannot compare the two.
Right. That's
you
what I'm
asshole! Stop comparing the two.
But that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm gonna give my rating because yours sucks.
Okay.
I believe first half was an 85 and the second half was a 80.
So we're in agreement with the first half being 85.
Yeah, but it was like just because it was all training. Like they'd never really played a game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They did training in a very interesting way, which is
very hyposaurus by that.
Hyposaurus.
You could probably go listen to our other episode that we did already, and obviously the scores are probably not going to be the same.
Yeah, probably not. But
So,
I mean, they're probably
interesting.
they're probably going to be pretty up there, though. I think
They're going to be up there. Absolutely. I like the first half a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess overall an 83. Bouncing boys with 2 feet for once.
Yeah,
Out of 100.
83 jumps with 2 feet out of 100 jumps with single feet. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, whatever.
It's some weird stuff. But you know what, golf?
Definitely watch it.
Yep, definitely watch it. It's still for sure worth your time. But thank you for giving us your time in this classroom. We are working our asses off to give you content in this isolation situation. Please check out our extra credit episodes every Thursday.
Aren't we ranting?
Or you want to rant? I was gonna just rip it off. Just tear this one off and call it a day. We can rant. I'll rant.
It's up to you.
What do you want to rant about, Ethan?
Well, you promised the peeps a rant.
That's right. Oh no. Ethan, fucking watch Food Wars, but don't watch season 5.
Whoa, really? It sucks?
Okay, so Food Wars is a very unique show that found a formula, in my opinion, that had no business working. It's basically shonen plus cooking plus ichi.
Plus orgasms from food.
Literal palate orgasms.
Yikers.
But something about this entire formula tracks. I mean, there are times when I've eaten food and I'm like, oh my God, these ribs, Ethan.
I don't think that's literally ever happened to me. I'll be honest with you.
So maybe that's where we differ, is that, I get a quick chub every time I have a real mean plate of barbecue.
All right, we're done with this episode.
Yeah, I thought so now. But no, but all that being said, there are so many people that definitely have like a physical response to eating really good food. Not in this way. I'm just saying they're just like, oh, yes. Imagine being starving and then finally getting that first bite of food. Yeah, it feels pretty fucking good, frankly.
I mean, sure. But
exactly.
Jesus Christ.
And I think food is enough of a universal concept where it can be enjoyed by
everyone's had it at least once.
Everyone's had food at least once. If you're listening, chances are you've had food before.
And honestly, if you haven't, email us.
You got to try it. Also email us
and we'll have you on the podcast. We'll interview you about never eating food.
So, dear viewer,
breatharian,
what's it like filter feeding for your entire life? I guess you're clearly not at a bite of food.
Your rant, you son of a gun.
Well, I'm trying, man. You tried to cut me off after I said I got a semi from eating a pair of ribs. Like shit.
I mean, you blame me.
My rant is, this show shouldn't work. Food Wars should not work. I was watching it and all the ichi shit. At first, I was like, okay, guys, come on. But by season 2 or 3, that ichi shit became the visual representation of this show's power system. People's ability to use flavors and ingredients and like cooking specialties is on par with some of the best shonen writing I have ever seen. They have ranks. They have, the elite 10, the top 10 of the school basically has more administrative power than the director of the school itself. They're up there. And, Food Wars as a concept is anyone at any time can challenge anyone over anything as long as both parties agree and you can find 3 judges. That's awesome to me. Like I said, the way that Haikyuu handles hype, the way that, other battle anime like handle hype, this show refines that pure distilled hypeness to a T. It's doing that incredibly well. They turn up what works for cooking with like shonen tropes to 11. The battles, the characters, the groups and titles and rankings. They turn all that up to 11 and never let up for 4 seasons. And they turn down the other stuff, like powers and, the same way Kuroko no Basket basically turns the powers up for basketball to 11. They just say, screw it, no powers. This is based in reality. All the cooking science is real. All of the cooking recipes are replicatable for the most part. And everyone has their own specialty. And I think I kept watching it and couldn't help thinking, fuck, Ethan would love this shit. He would. And I know cooking may not be your thing, but everything else around the cooking is worth the watch. However, I will not spoil anything. Not for your sake, because I don't even know if you'll ever watch it. But but for the people at home who haven't seen it, I honestly would give this show a 91 overall. First 4 seasons. There is no way. I think they're pulling kind of like the mangakas being forced by Shonen Jump editors to pump out more than should be for the story, because season 4 ends in a way that if you end the show there, that is a succinct shonen masterpiece. But season 5, it's not bad so far, but it's just lost a lot of luster, and it's just kind of like, okay, this is an epilogue. This feels epilogue-esque.
So with our next episode, I will have the same opinion on that show, where I think they should have ended it after a certain season, and then the next season was unnecessary.
I think I'll have the very exact opposite opinion.
No shit.
And that if they
we
want to
have
make
basically the opposite opinions on everything, Ricky.
I know.
That's
just
what
saying
makes this whole thing kind of roll.
It's true. That's very true.
Because I'm always right and you're always wrong,
I don't think I know that. I don't know if you know that either. That's not true.
Yeah, you're always wrong, so you do not know that you are wrong. Thus, I'm right.
I am going to take the time at 3 a.m. to do a super cut of all the times Ethan has told me that's a good point or you're right. And trust me, it'll be girthy and numerous.
It'll be max 20 minutes of a show.
That's still pretty long time though.
How many hours do you think we've done? I'll tell you. Over 100.
So thank y'all for listening.
No, okay. So in response to what you just said,
yes,
I actually did just watch a video from All Day Anime.
Oh yeah,
which we're patrons of.
Yes, we are.
Our Lord Brigo over there. He just did one. Essentially talking about the hype of like Food Wars and like, how it just honestly blows him away and stuff like that, similar to like Haikyuu
right
for us.
Yeah.
And so you basically said the exact same argument. So
oh, nice.
I don't know, I'm not still like not that interested. I don't know what to tell you.
And that's the thing, I'm not necessarily trying to convince you, I am trying to convince them.
Yeah, y'all should watch it.
It is really a good time, and during this isolation situation, this was like the first thing on my list of things to binge all the way through since I had the time, and boy howdy was I not disappointed. I was really happy I did that. I finally understood what all these people, I think what it really did for me is, I mentioned a couple times, a lot of non-weebs will jump into anime using this as a gateway, and I could understand why until I watched it. I get it.
But like, to be honest, ecchi gateway makes no sense.
That's why I was like, there's no fucking way this should be a gateway anime. It's almost as if they're a little aware of how ridiculous it is. They never turn that stuff too high. They don't just basically over-sexualize until maybe a little later when you're kind of, numb to it after 3 seasons of it. But the ridiculousness kind of almost works for that, because there are times when I see people literally have like, pants creaming sessions, and I'm like, fuck, I'd actually kind of like to eat that dish, frankly. I'll have what she's having, sir.
By the way, just some quick maths. We've done about 300 hours.
There's no fucking way we did 300 hours. No way.
Right. I lied. My bad. Hang on.
Probably around like 60-ish, I would say. If you listen to everything we have and don't sleep.
6 hours.
I want to get to a point where if you listen to all of our stuff back to back and don't sleep, you would die of sleep deprivation. That's my dream, Ethan.
How many days is that?
I think it's like, I don't know, like a couple weeks.
No, I don't believe that for a second.
Like 9 days maybe?
What is this? That like conspiracy theory, creepy pasta where the guys go into the tube and don't sleep, and then they're like, "I never want to sleep again."
The hell are you talking about, man?
It's like some Russian experiment. Y'all should look it up. It's creepy.
I'm gonna look it up.
It is hella creepy.
I might open next episode with talking about that because I'll look it up, and I will not do that because my phone is at 1%. So,
oh my god,
it's how it always goes. But
you can charge it over here.
Oh, thanks, man.
Anywho,
we'll do that in the meantime.
We want.
We can talk about the con.
Cool. So Ricky and myself are going to be involved in a virtual anime convention as a result of this COVID-19 rigmarole.
Yes, we'll be posting links to that in the coming days on our Instagram, on our Twitter, maybe putting a link to some information in the description of the YouTube version of this. Come check us out. We're going to be trying our best as a collective. A bunch of creators are going to come together. We're going to be raising donations to give to organizations helping everyone during this pandemic.
Yeah, it's like
concept.
COVID-19 relief.
Yeah.
And basically, there's going to be like a gaming tournament. There's going to be some cosplay contests.
And we're going to be on some panels.
Yeah, we're on multiple panels, so that's going to be pretty sweet. The days for that are June 5th and 6th.
Okay, that's cool.
So coming up here in about a month.
All right. Well,
yeah. So just wanted to let you guys know that. Obviously, we'll post whatever we can on our social media sites
everywhere
for you to visually see.
Well, like I was saying before I was told to give you all the rants that I promised because I am an honest boy. Thank y'all for coming to class.
Just trying to give them more content.
Of course, we need to give them more content. If you want to listen to some content, go check us out on Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, CastBox, and anywhere you get your podcast fix. If you want some of that visual and audio content, go check us out on YouTube. Our extra credit videos will be a lot more visual nowadays. And Ethan's dad's calling to give him more TP.
He can't not call me during recording.
He's really good about that. Check us out on Instagram at Weebology.podcast. We got memes on news whenever we can get that out during the isolation situation. If you have an anime we should be watching and add to our ever-growing list now, hit us up on our email, weebologypodcast@gmail.com, or on Twitter, weebologyp. I don't know if Ethan still wants to change that name, but I don't think we should because
I do want to change it. I honestly don't want to put in the effort to figure out how to do that.
WeeBP? Let's do WeeBP. I'm into that.
I don't know. Maybe Weeby the Ghost.
Weeby the Ghost. I like that. But you know what? Until next time, I'm Ricky.
And I'm Ethan.
And this has been Weebology. Deuces. Never change Weebology, Pete. It's so good.
Never.